This is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff job. This is the Secretary of Defense. We got an ass kisser as a Secretary of Defense and an ass kisser as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I apologize for my language, but there's no other way to say it. These are sycophants. These aren't the experts. These aren't the best of the best. These are guys who were simply put in their position because they'll do anything Donald Trump asks them to do. And that's not what we want as a Secretary of Defense and a chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Well, that was a mesmerizing description of the danger we're in. Could Turkey somehow, I mean, I'm presuming these submarines, one of them at least, is headed for the Black Sea. To do that, they have to pass through the Straits, and Turkey has to agree. Or would the United States not even bother to seek that agreement? Might Turkey say, this is too escalatory a move, you don't have permission to enter the Black Sea through our waters?
I don't think an Ohio-class submarine is going to the Black Sea. It'll die. There's no way an Ohio-class submarine can operate in the Black Sea and survive. They won't even operate in the Mediterranean. The Ohio-class will operate in the Atlantic and in the Pacific. What will happen here is that the standard Pacific station, which is a classified location, they'll be leaving that, heading for forward stations, which probably haven't been manned or worked since the Cold War. And so the idea is to get closer to the eastern border, or come in. If you're in the Atlantic, you're probably going to move up to the North Sea and come in closer to the Arctic Sea. And so you'll be operating in these areas. But the problem is you're moving through waters that are heavily monitored, both in terms of above sensors, but also below ground sensors. The Chinese and the Russians, just like we have put out fields of sensors that track movement. The Ohio-class submarine is a very large object that, as it moves, it's displacing water. And our ability to detect motion of this event is out of this world. We now have artificial intelligence that goes in there to help read algorithms and read data. But no, to go to the Black Sea would have to surface, and the Russians go, "Thank you very much." And then it comes out of the Black Sea, and the Russians will have a submarine waiting for it right there when it comes out. And Ohio-class submarines don't travel alone. Usually, there's one or two American attack submarines hovering in the vicinity as protection, providing perimeter protection for the submarine. So as you move it, it's not just one submarine moving now. You're probably moving 3 submarines, the Ohio class, and then 2 Los Angeles class or Virginia class attack submarines, providing some sort of screening and protection against any potential Russian submarine hunter-killer trying to come up behind it. Again, the more submarines that are moving, the better chances of detecting it. But no, the Black Sea, no, and the same with the Mediterranean. We used to put Polaris and Poseidon class submarines there, but the Ohio class submarines, they're designed for the deep water of the Pacific and the Atlantic.
So the launch time from one of these submarines, remind us again, would be what? Did you give a figure of 20 minutes?
If you get the submarine close enough to the Russian shore, it's 20 minutes from launch to impact, because depending on the target being hit. But a lot of the Russian missile silos are built along. If you go and look at where the Trans-Siberian Railroad is, and you track that, and you move off of that, that's where a lot of populated areas are. And then you'll see that the missile bases are sort of plugged along that. A lot of them are in the central to eastern part of Russia. And if I get a submarine close enough, I can cycle off Trident missiles that'll hit their targets within 20 minutes.
Do you agree with the thesis I outlined in my monologue that this kind of terrifyingly dangerous escalation, especially when there is now no INF restrictions, this being the anniversary of it, that we really are on a fast road to, we're really on a super highway here. If conflict does break out, it will escalate at such a speed that it's quite bewildering to me how nobody except thee and me, and not many others, appear to be even aware, never mind concerned, that we've reached this point. You know, we used to have this doomsday clock. I mean, the clock is striking 12 right now, isn't it?
Yeah, I've long said, people keep saying, "Oh, the doomsday clock, we're 2 minutes to midnight. We need to pull it back." I said, we're at midnight. I mean, we're 1 millisecond away from the end of the world, because all we need is an act of stupidity. And we just got the supreme act of stupidity. The President of the United States, based upon a mean tweet, redeploying 2 Ohio-class submarines. At the same time, he's stocked England with B-61-12 gravity bombs. George, I just wrote a book called Highway to Hell, the Armageddon Chronicles. It basically tracks this very problem from 2014 until this year. The analysis that I've done over the years about, the importance of arms control, and with the deterioration of arms control, deterioration of relations, the hyping up of nuclear capabilities without any checks and balances, we're on a literal highway to hell where one mistake, one miscalculation, one misinterpretation of data leads to the death of everybody, not one or two. We all die. If you don't believe that, I'm sorry. I can't say, aha, see, I was right, because you'll be dead. And I'll be dead. But this is as dangerous as it gets. I mean, when I wrote the book and I published it, people said, "Oh, Scott, you're just you're fear hyping." No, the reason why I published this book now is because this is the reality we live in. This is the most dangerous thing in the world. Last fall, the CIA at a time, in November, December, estimated that we were over 50% chance of having a nuclear war before year's end. I was saying it back then too. People, you're just fear mongering. No, when you have Admiral Buchanan, of the director of plans for the Strategic Command, briefing a Washington, D.C. think tank that the United States at that time was ready to engage in a nuclear exchange with Russia. Guys, that's nuclear war. A nuclear exchange means a nuclear war. He said, we're ready to do it now. Oh, and we think we can win. But then he said something interesting. This needs to sink into your audience here. He said, maybe it's time we be more honest with the American public about what winning means. Because he said, if we have this nuclear exchange, life as you know it will never be the same. You will not live in your nice little suburban home, be able to hop in your car, get gasoline, drive to a store, buy groceries and all that. You will live under martial law where food and everything is rationed. You will not live with electricity or air conditioning. You'll be living in a much more Spartan environment. Your life will be hell because you may have to wear protective gear to protect against radiation. You may be living underground. There won't be many of you left because everybody will be dead, but we'll have won a nuclear war, so hooray, hooray for us. This is the reality of nuclear war. The government knows this. They know exactly what's going to happen. There will be no surviving a nuclear war, even if we quote unquote win it. So wake up, people. This isn't something to chuckle at, a little mean tweet exchange and all that. This president is going to kill you. He's going to kill all of us unless people stand up and say no to this president. This is where we need a chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff who hasn't been handpicked by the president and his sycophantic Secretary of Defense to do whatever the president wants. We need a Secretary of Defense who says, Mr. President, the redeployment of Ohio-class submarines through social media is ill-advised, and I have to respectfully refuse to execute this order. I'm not ordering those submarines to move because you put them at risk. If you want to move them, we'll move them at a later date, but we're not going to tell anybody about it. I need a chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff that says, preemptive nuclear war, which it appears you're preparing to go, would be unconstitutional because it violates international humanitarian law. It violates the notions of, reciprocity. What are we attacking them for? What have they done? A mean tweet? You're going to threaten nuclear war because of a mean tweet? That's not reciprocity. That's, it's no. But we don't have that. We have people who are just saying, yeah, way to go, Mr. President. And we have a whole bunch of cultists here in the United States who think everything this president does is genius when it's not.
I had several other questions to ask you, but that's such a perfect point to end on for now and take a rain check, if you will, once I've read your book. How do we buy your book, the Armageddon book you were just talking about?
Highway to Hell. You can get it on Amazon.com, BarnesandNobles.com, or you can get it straight from the publisher at ClarityPress.com. It's right there. Look, I wrote this book for a reason. And the reason is exactly what we're talking about. This book was published last fall, actually earlier this spring. It was written last fall, published earlier this spring, because I felt that we were headed down a highway to hell. There's a reason why I use that title. We're on a highway to hell. How do we get off this highway? And it's up to you, me, and everybody else. You're doing God's work, George, by bringing this out. But, for us to talk until we're blue in the face does no good. Our words have to be translated into action. And I'm going to be doing my best. I've got a Project 38, which is designed to help extend arms control and prevent this very thing. You're doing your work. We need other people to step up too. Sitting at home waiting for other people to do this job. In the movie I'm making, 38 Minutes, which tracks on the 38 minutes of terror that existed in Hawaii back in 2018 when a missile launch was declared. It turned out to be a false alarm, but for 38 minutes, the people thought a nuclear missile was going to hit them and they were all going to die. And I want to capture the terror that they felt and then ask the audience, if you, knowing you're going to die, that missile's coming in, if you could go back 6 months, what would you be willing to do to stop that missile from being launched? And why aren't you doing it now? I'm doing everything I can right now because I fear in 6 months. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can't wait for the book. I hope that I've got time to read it before the highway to hell accelerates to the point of no return. And the movie sounds great too. It really is an honour to regularly talk with you, Scott Ritter. You are a great educator, and if people have got any sense, they'll wake up before they can no longer smell the coffee or even the skin of their children. Scott Ritter, thanks for joining us, as always, on the mother of all talk shows. I don't know about you, but I found that extremely powerful indeed. Let me take a quick break. Then it's your calls all the way up to Gayatri's social media roundup. Stay tuned.